Of all the consoles that I collect for, I think the one that I probably have the least familiarity with is the Nintendo 64, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is I didn't own one until a couple of years ago. Now, I've played plenty of N64 games, but never owned the console. It was just not something that I was interested in. I was very particular about the console I wanted. I wanted a Jungle Green N64, and unfortunately, I never found one for a good price. Except my wife and my best friend Chris from the Game Dad Show, they took care of that. They got me one for my birthday a couple of years ago. So today I wanted to take a look at that console that, while I don't have a ton of exposure to it, it is something since I received my N64, I've had a lot of fun collecting for and a lot of fun playing games on. And I wanted to give you the games I keep coming back to on my 64. There's a lot of games that I've bought, but there's only a few that I really continuously play. We're gonna start things off with one of the best racing games on the 64, featuring a Volkswagen Beetle.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, right off the bat, I want to tell you a few things that you will not see on this list, so you can leave your angry comments down below. You're not going to see Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. You're not going to see Mario 64. You're not going to see any Mario Party games. Straight up. Just that's the end of the line right there. Why aren't you going to see those? Just because I didn't include them on here. They're games that I like, don't get me wrong, but when I think of games like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, I don't go back to them on the 64, I go back to them on the 3DS. When I think of Super Mario 64, I think of a game I don't actually really enjoy all that much. And Mario Party and I, we have an understanding. We don't talk about each other, and that's just kind of how it works. So let's get on to the first game now. When I think about the N64, I think about racing games, which is why there's going to be 2 racing games on this list, because it was a console that was not short on wonderful racing titles. But one of my favorites is a licensed racing game, and it's this one here, Beetle Adventure Racing. This was the first game I ever bought at a video game convention. I actually picked up Beetle Adventure Racing for my first N64 purchase since 1999, I think. And I am so happy I did, because I've heard nothing but great things about this game, and when I finally got it and played it, the brilliance of this game cannot be understated. It has one of the best racing experiences on the N64, a fantastic look for what the console was capable of doing, good sound, but what you're here for is the gameplay, and Beetle Adventure Racing delivers in spades. It is such a brilliant title and so wonderfully designed that I can't help but love it. It's fun, it's easy to pick up and play and understand, and sometimes that's all you really need from a great racing game. You'd think that as someone who is a huge fan of comic books, the Turok games would be really high on my list, because that's where Turok started. He was a classic comic character. But I kind of avoided the Turok games on the N64 until I got this from Video Games Monthly probably about 6 months ago. I was blown away by this game. What a fantastic first-person shooter. This is, like, dare I say it, this is more enjoyable than GoldenEye. I think it's a better single-player campaign than what GoldenEye offers. I love the look. I love the combat. I love that I get to fight flipping dinosaurs. Like, that's cool, man. Fighting dinosaurs is cool. And this game just works. I think it's really, really fun. It's something that I had zero expectations for when I got this in the mail. And since I got it, it's something I've played pretty regularly. So I am very, very happy to have this one. What's your favorite N64 first-person shooter? Let me know in the comments down below. I think for me, it's probably this one here. It's probably Turok Dinosaur Hunter. There might be better ones that I haven't played. I would love to get your suggestions. Let me know. One of my favorite hobbies outside of video games and toy collecting and other stuff like that is photography. I've always loved photography. My mom was a photographer, and I've pretty much had a camera in my hand my whole life. So when I got a video game on the N64 that featured not only photography, but Pokemon, 2 things I really, really liked, yeah, I was sold. Signed, sealed, delivered. Sign me up for Pokemon Snap. I want that game. It's so good. It's such a bloody fun game and so well made that I just love it. Like, what a creative idea for a video game. It's not something that's action-packed and over the top and crazy ridiculous. It's just calming. You're on a rail. It's the most relaxing rail shooter ever. I love the ability to get the different objects and the different items, to use the Pokeballs or to throw bait out to get the Pokemon to interact with things differently. I love that they will have different reactions to things that you toss at them. It's just perfect. It's a fantastic game and something that to this day I enjoy. And I love the fact that we got a sequel finally on the Nintendo Switch.
Get ready, go!
I am a very late adopter to Diddy Kong Racing. I was not a fan of this game when it released. I played it, it did not connect for me. I was good to never play it again. But because of Game Dad and his incessant telling me that I needed to give this one another shot, I did, and I'm so happy I did, because I don't know what I was thinking when I originally played this one. This is such an incredible kart racer. It does kart racing better than Mario Kart does. It truly does. This is, if I'm being honest, possibly Rare's best game on the N64. It's just perfect. You have a wonderful cast of characters. You have incredibly creative designs to each level. I love the ability to be able to have this hub world where you're driving around to go to the different races. It's just the total package from top to bottom, from presentation to execution, the game just works. It's such a fantastic racing game, and it's something I go back to constantly. It's such a wonderful title, and I'm so happy to admit how wrong I was about this game. Space Station Silicon Valley is one that when I got my Nintendo 64, I was told, you need to get this game, and I had never heard of it. So I was immediately on the hunt for it when I went to my first video game convention at the 2021 Midwest Gaming Classic, and I didn't find it. I struck out. I did find it, however, on eBay and ordered it, and I am so happy I did, because this is such a wonderful, ridiculous, dumb game. And I say dumb, but it's not badly designed. It's purposely dumb. Like, it is dumb to the point of being silly and being humorous and being ridiculous, and it works so ridiculously well. This game is a platformer. You're going around on a particular level and collecting things and then moving on. You play as a robot named Evo, and as you go around, you're collecting different things and taking over animals or attacking animals, and then you control their bodies. It's a really wonderful game it's just dumb. But I love it. It's fantastic. It's a game that I don't think a lot of people know about, and if they do know about it, I don't think a lot of people gave it a fair shake, because like I said, I had never heard of it when I was told to pick it up, and I'm so glad I did, because it is wonderful. Space Station Silicon Valley is fantastic. There was a follow-up on both the Game Boy Color and a port on the PlayStation 1, so be sure to look for it, because these games are wonderful. My memories and my love of WWF No Mercy extends back to the year of 1999. It was the first time I'd ever lived away from home. I was in Orlando living with my buddy Corey, and he and my friend Bob, aka the Cretans Guild, were playing No Mercy constantly. This was a game that we got together and played all the time because we were huge wrestling fans, and this was the best wrestling game ever released. With an unbelievable roster of classic WWF superstars and just some of the best gameplay modes that were just so simple, straightforward, and easy to pick up and play that I couldn't help but love it then. This is a game that we used to decide who was going to pay for something or who was going to buy something. We used it to settle wagers if we had a bet going on. It was that just kind of ingrained in my everyday experiences. And it's still great today. Like, I look at this game and it is still the best wrestling game ever made as far as I'm concerned. And it really breaks my heart when I look at something like AEW Fight Forever, which was using a version of this engine, and it just kind of feels soulless when this one just crushes it in every conceivable way. I adore this game. It is one of the best games ever made, one of the best wrestling games ever made, certainly, and just something that I can't help but love when I play it. This and WWF WrestleMania 2000, both of them are absolute perfection. There are no shortage of great Star Wars games on the Nintendo 64, but the top one for me, and it was really close between this and Episode 1 Racer, but the top one for me is Rogue Squadron. I enjoy space combat games, and I really enjoy Star Wars-based ones. I mean, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter is one of my favorite PC games, but this one here, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, does something incredibly well by putting you into scenarios from the movies and making you experience them and feeling like you're there. It's really incredibly designed and incredibly executed that you got these amazing games featuring signature ships that you know from Star Wars. And while it might not match up one-to-one to what happens in the films based on the actions that you take in the gameplay as you're going through it, you still feel like you're part of these classic Star Wars combat scenarios. It's wonderful. Everything in this game works, from the look to the design to the combat to the difficulty. It just sticks every landing, and it's still fun to play to this day. I will admit that the only reason Donkey Kong 64 is on this list is because I don't own Conker's Bad Fur Day. Oh, wow. That was good thunder. That was a good thunder roll. God damn. Okay. And that's okay, because it is a very expensive game, and Donkey Kong 64 is not something that's terribly difficult to get a hold of. And I enjoyed it when it originally released, and I enjoy it today. I know there's some people that this is a very divisive game. This isn't either you love it or you hate it game. But for me, this game just connected on every level. Like, I just enjoyed it from jump. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was brilliant. I loved the yellow cartridge. Like, I miss stuff like that. I miss, like, weird colored cartridges for a game. And the N64 was really good about that. But Donkey Kong 64 is wonderful. It's a 3D platformer from Rare, so you know the quality is there. Is it as good as games like Banjo or Conker? Probably not. Probably not, if I'm being honest with you. But I do love it, and I do think it's a lot of fun. I really wanted this game when I got my N64, and I really wanted to pick this one up and add it back to my collection and start playing through it again, because I only played it briefly back in the late 90s. So to have it again and to be able to play it and to enjoy it as much as I do makes me really happy. Rare doesn't do anything wrong on the N64. Like, there's not a single game that they released that's bad. It's just all down to taste. In my eyes, the best Rare video game on the N64 is Jet Force Gemini. And whether that's just my deep love of science fiction or just the fact that this was something a little bit different and not the same thing we saw very frequently from Rare, it just stuck with me, and it's something that I still love to this day and I still enjoy playing. I think it's one of the best third-person shooters on the N64, and I realize that there's not a lot of them now that I just said that sentence, but for me, this is one that just kind of broke the mold because it was done so well. There are frustrating aspects of the title, don't get me wrong, but that's kind of up to the limitations of the console and the controller, and not necessarily the game design. They did the best of what they had, and I love it. I think it's an absolutely brilliant title, and I wish this was something that we had seen kind of span into a series, or at least into a franchise, but unfortunately it just kind of died a death. And that sucks, because I think there could have been some really interesting stories told with this universe. My favorite RPG on the Nintendo 64 is Paper Mario. Just straight up. It spawned a franchise that I still love to this day, and I still enjoy playing, and gave me unbelievable gameplay experiences that I still use as kind of the benchmark for what a kind of easy to access and easy to enjoy RPG should be. I love the timing mechanic in the game. I love the storytelling in the game. The presentation, both through the written word and through the music in the game, can't be matched. And the beauty of the game lies in its beauty. The look of the title is incredible. The ability to have these characters be one-dimensional characters but still operate in a 3D space just kind of blew my mind. It led to a fantastic franchise that I enjoy pretty much every entry on. Although, I mean, obviously this one and Thousand Year Door are the two best. I really do enjoy the Paper Mario series, and I love that it started here on the N64. And this one holds a special place for me because this was Meredith's first real game that she played and fell in love with. And it's always going to be special to me because of that. And this is one that I just love having, and I love being able to play. Yeah, conspicuous by his absence, no Super Mario Bros. 64, or Mario 64, I don't actually know the official title of the game. I am not a huge fan of that game. It's just not something that ever really clicked for me, never really connected. But that's okay. I know there's a ton of folks who do love it. I'm glad you do. I think it's awesome. Are you an N64 fan? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what games you keep coming back to. Let me know which ones are the ones you can't put down, the ones that you enjoy. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed today's video, why don't you click that thumbs up button down below. The engagement helps the channel out a ton. I would truly appreciate it. And hey, if you're still here and this is your first time on the channel, click that subscribe button. You made it to the end of the video. You should reward yourself with a prize. Yeah, I just called myself a prize, but that's okay because you know what? I am a prize. I am a damn treat. Until next time, folks, I have been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.